Greetings, friends! It's so exciting to see some of our first fruits here on the homestead for this year. And some of you may be wondering, what in the world is a first fruit? Well, a first fruit is the first agricultural produce to be harvested. And in biblical, Greek, and Roman religions, the first fruits were given to the priest or religious teachers as offerings to God. But I'll talk more about that as we get closer to Pentecost, which is a feast that we'll be celebrating here pretty soon. Well, even though we have those first fruits in the greenhouse there, we don't have any first fruits out here in the main garden yet. In fact, we're just getting some seeds sprouted. So we're a little behind this year, but we're doing what we can. And right here, I'm watering some seeds that we sowed last week of turnips, beets, and we also transplanted some pepper plants that we have in here. And I'm beginning to see some of the turnip seeds sprout, and I think maybe the beets are as well. But just behind me here, let's look at that. We had other seeds that we started here as well, and we did those a little bit differently. We covered those with tarp to encourage the germination process for the seeds, and it worked really well for the arugula. They're like sprouted like crazy. Worked somewhat well for the radishes, but I don't think that it was because of the tarp. Maybe it's something with the cedar, and the beets did okay, but we've also sprouted some unwanteds that we need to get rid of too. But overall, tarping to start the seeds saved me so much time and energy of watering. So I watered these beds maybe 1.5 at the most time in a week time span, and it kept the moisture in the bed. But right over here, I had to water these beds on average twice a day for them to maintain the moisture, for them just to now start sprouting in pretty much the same time period. So I really recommend tarping, watering really good after you've sowed your seed, and then tarping the bed to maintain that moisture in. It's going to save you from having to water, and it will save your water as well. Well, let me finish up watering here, and we have some work to do up there closer to where our high tunnel is. We're going to be helping Lacie today and getting some flowers going. How many sheep do you have on your profile?
5 or 6.
You got 5 or 6 what? Over here talking about Farm Simulator? We're farmers, and one of the things that Sayla does on her free time is play Farm Simulators. Like, you can't get away from farming, can you?
No.
So what all animals do you have on there?
Well, I have 5 or 6 sheep. I have lots of horses and a few cows.
Anything else? You got some tractors too, probably, right?
3 tractors, a horse trailer, and a water trailer to carry water.
Oh, you're just farmer up and down, aren't you? All right, well, we're over here at the bed that Lacie has been wanting to do some flowers in, that I've been working on for now, and just recently cut down 2 cedar trees. So they're in here just cleaning up a little bit the debris that was left from it. But we cut them down, de-limbed them and everything, and now we're using them as the borders for the bed. So, all right, so what's your plan? What are we gonna do?
We're gonna do lots of flowers. Maybe some edible flowers, some medicinal flowers, and flowers just to be pretty, because that's what I want to grow.
All right, so let's see them a little more specific on that plan. What flowers exactly? We're doing zinnias, and do you know how you want to do your rows?
First we have to get our rows set up, and then when we get our rows set up, I'll decide which I want to plant in what row.
All right, so I'm at your service. Since this is your bed and your area, you just tell me what you want me to do.
Get to it, man.
What do I need to do? I got you some gypsum that I bought just in case, because it looks like we got some clay areas we're dealing with. But like you got some good areas too, though,
right? We definitely have like some hard clay areas, and then where the chickens sat for so long, that is looking really good, and then it turns back into clay on the other side. So I'm gonna read at how much gypsum we should put out according to the area. And also want you to pick up a scuffle hoe, and we're going to scuffle hoe this whole thing and get rid of all these weeds first.
There we go. I think it'd be a good idea to also add some compost after we do all that, and when we add the gypsum and start breaking up the clay a little bit, to add some compost too.
Yep, we're going to do that too. Just one thing at a time right now though.
Make it happen though. All right, so in addition to growing flowers just to make it look pretty around here, what are some other reasons why we're gonna grow some flowers, or why you want to grow flowers?
Well, you always want to have bees on your property, and that is a great way to attract bees and other pollinators is with flowers.
Exactly right. And speaking of bees, there was something that was really neat happened to us just the other day. Well, for the past couple of weeks, we think that we have lost our beehive, and the bees that we had in there from Adam from Farm Life Outfitters, I think they moved on. So I was just like, man, just kind of bummed out about it. So I just was out here working right back behind me in the high tunnel here, and watering some of my tomatoes and cucumbers, and then I see like this tornado. It was coming like from somewhere like right in there, like this tornado of bees coming, and they were just like, I was like, whoa, this is so cool. And they were coming down, and they were just coming right to the beehive. I was like, whoa. And they just started circling around the beehive. And for some reason, earlier in the day, I'd asked Selah, I was giving her some maple syrup, and I was like, just go ahead and take some maple syrup outside, and maybe we'll attract the bees or something. And they were coming down, getting some of the maple syrup, and then they were like checking out the beehive and inspecting it, and this swarm was coming around. I was like, oh, I gotta get Lacie and Selah and everybody to come out here and see this. This is pretty neat.
It was super cool, it really was.
So we're there and we're just watching the bees just as their tornado, their swarm was just kind of tightening up, and they're like checking out the beehive, and they were just starting to fill it up. Wow. Not sure if you guys can see that, but there's bees everywhere.
Looks like they're going in. Look how they're getting closer.
They're going flocking right on there. It's kind of crazy. I've never seen this happen before.
It's really cool to watch. I know some of y'all wouldn't be sitting here this close. I don't think Mike likes to be this close. As long as you stay calm, that's the biggest thing. And make sure that, I'm only worried about them getting trapped in my shirt or getting them accidentally stinging me.
I'm getting better and better with being around them, but I just feel like I'm gonna freak out if one of them's on my neck and then accidentally get stung somehow, swatting at it or something. But the more you're out here doing these kind of things, you gradually get more and more comfortable. It's definitely more intimidating with a bunch of them flying and swarming around, especially as they first came in. It was like, whoa, it's like a tornado of bees. But throughout the weeks, normally when we've had the bees here, there's just been a few of them out. It's really not bad at all. It's calming down more and more.
More of them are going in. Well, it looks like they're getting settled in. Activity has really slowed down. It's really super interesting to watch. I had never seen that before. So we need to see if they stick around or not.
Man, it was so cool. It's like, this is a blessing. We lost our bees, and then a swarm just comes right where our bees were into the hive.
We didn't even have to do anything.
I was like, wow, thank you God for that one.
And they've been working ever since.
So that is so neat that happened. So it looks like we're gonna be able to harvest some honey here on our homestead this year after all. Last year was our first year having bees here, and we got them later in the year, so we weren't able to harvest any. But this year it looks like we might be able to with our new hive here, our new bees. And we do need to upgrade our hive. You know, this is just a nuke here, but we plan to do that. But I look forward to using our hive butler system we got last year. And we were able to use it at Adam and Michelle's place with harvesting their honey. But hopefully we can use it here to harvest our honey for the first time. I've never had my own honey to harvest.
Yeah, and it's a really neat system. You can use the hive butler to store your frames over the winter. You can use it for honey harvesting. You can use it from gathering your frames, taking it to where you're gonna harvest your honey. And we did a really great video all about the hive butler last year when we were out at Doug and Stacy's place. So make sure you check that out too.
I'm not trying to take over your project or anything, but I think we're at a point now where we can start adding the gypsum and some compost. So you okay with that?
Yes. He says he's not trying to take over the project,
No.
but can you see the leader? Can you see the leader? Can you see the oldest child coming out?
Oh. If that's not what you want to do, then I'll just stand here and wait for instructions.
No, I agree. You are correct. We need to move on.
All right, well, this bed right here is 25 feet long and 14 feet wide. So whatever you need to figure out for the gypsum, keep those measurements in mind. And as you're doing that, I'm gonna start adding some compost.
Okay. Okay, let's see here. For vegetable and flower gardens, 5 pounds per 1,000 square foot. For best results, incorporate into the top 2 inches of soil, water in after application. So we have right at 350 square foot of planting space over here. So I'm figuring that's a little less than 2 pounds of gypsum. So, you know, I think I'm just gonna add about 2 pounds and we'll start there. Isn't my husband sweet for shoveling this compost for me and helping me?
I get extra bonus points for this.
Of course. Of course.
You know what? I really want to flip this wood around. The slope is going downhill here. It shouldn't have the narrow end here. It should have the fat end down here and the narrow end up there. It's that OCD in me, I guess. What do you think?
It is the OCD in him. I personally don't care and just see it as being more work to turn it around. But guess what? It will really bother him if we do not do this. So, I guess I'm gonna say let's turn it around and get it done now.
No, it's your project.
Instead of waiting until later and him being like, I really wish we'd have turned it around. I really wish we'd have turned it around. So, let's go ahead and do it now and figure out a way to turn this big tree around and get it done.
Oh, I guess you know me a little bit. It would bother me. It will. But it's your garden. We can do whatever we want to do. I'll learn to deal with it.
But you just want to get it done and have it done. But only if it's exactly how you like it.
No, it doesn't have to be exactly how I like it.
Then why are we flipping this tree around?
Let's flip it.
See? Let's flip it. There he goes. Right there. He just can't stand, leave it alone. Me, I'm like, who cares? See, personality difference. But I guess, you know, it takes someone of a different personality to bring out the best in the other person.
Time goes by, I change my mind about you and I. You and I.
1, 2, 3.
So would you stay for a minute?
1, 2, 3.
So I can be brave. Let me catch my
1,
breath.
2, 3.
Now I can feel what I'm saying.
1, 2, 3.
I'm letting you know.
1, 2,
This
3.
heart's on the edge. You make
1, 2, 3.
me so much better. Promise to love
See, that didn't take too long.
That's why I wanna spend my life with you. I wanna grow old with you. 'Cause nobody loves you like I do. That I can promise you, oh promise you. Time goes by, oh precious time. Wait. Just 1 minute. Time goes by. I think I thought it out.
They said to mix this in the top 2 inches of your soil. So we're just gonna throw it on top before we put the compost on and make our rows.
Now I can feel what I'm saying. I'm letting you know my heart's on the edge. 'Cause I wanna spend my life with you. I wanna grow old with you. 'Cause nobody loves you like I do. That I can promise you, oh promise you.
Alrighty, so we have Lacie's beds made. And when we were making them, I did have to have Josiah add some water to them as I was using the mini cultivator just to kind of fluff it up and tease the soil a little bit to kind of blend the gypsum in with the compost in. And I'm ahead of having water just because we haven't had rain in almost probably 3 or 4 weeks now. We haven't had rain in quite some time. So we do need rain. But if it hadn't been for bringing the chickens in months ago, as well as the compost and different things that we've been doing to the soil here, it would be a lot more harder to work with the soil and not have rain for as long as we have not had it. And yeah, so as I've been working, I've been having some bees and different things flying around. Man, I was just noticing that we've been talking about bees in this episode, and ironically, I'm colors coordinating just like a bee today, so it's kind of interesting.
Bee is a bee.
And another thing is, I've been having this hornet that was been following me around for quite some time here, just as I'm doing different things around the homestead. And it was coming after me as I was watering something, and I just quickly put a jar over top of it. And it's one of those things that I didn't know what to do with it. I had it in the jar and I was like, just leave me alone. And it had been teasing me, and I had read that you can actually, a hornet can actually chase you up to 300 feet. So some will leave you alone by that time, but the hornets can actually chase you for that distance. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was harassing me, and I did put it in this jar, and it was really neat to be able to see the hornet up close. We live near Charlotte, and we were known as the Charlotte Hornets, but it's just really neat to see that hornet and how close up it was. I'm not one to just go killing anything, so I don't know what we would do with the hornet, but it was really neat to see it up close where it couldn't sting me. Well, we're going back to putting some seeds in here and plants in here. Let's see what Lacie has in store for us now. Alrighty, so what are we putting in the ground here?
Well, to start off, I'm going to plant marigolds, all different kinds, around the perimeter of my whole little garden over here. Because if you didn't know, marigolds are a deterrent for pests, so I am looking to keep those pests away. So that's one thing. I also have my calendula that I love to grow to make oils out of, and I have a whole bunch of different varieties right here. I grew, I think, pretty much all of these last year too, and I loved just the huge variety that I had. So I want to do those. I have herbs. I have nasturtiums, which are totally edible, and then I have zinnias that I want to plant too. And I'm going to plant zinnias in the middle down the row, and then the smaller ones, smaller flowers down beside it, because zinnias get really tall.
You also have some starts over there. We're planting those today?
Yes. We can plant a few of these. Some of these are zinnias. I have some parsley, some lemon mint, some hyssop, and some basil. One of our friends, Tina, she was so sweet. She brought me all these starts, and she had extra and just wanted to share. So thank you, Tina. I really appreciate that.
And I was just recently telling them about what I'm wearing. You're wearing a pretty interesting shirt there too.
So whenever I got stranded at Tractor Supply the other week, I went back in and I started looking at the clothes, and I bought this shirt for me. So, you know, remind myself to not be so salty sometimes.
In other words, be nice, right?
Mean?
No, it just reminds people, as I'm reading it too, it says, don't be, yeah.
Yeah, don't be a heifer.
I work on it, I promise. I know. Technically, I would be a bull, I know. But I'm not full of bull, hopefully. Well, we're gonna go ahead and finish putting these plants in, these transplants that Lacie has, as well as sowing those seeds. But you guys are just gonna have to check back with us a little bit later in another upcoming video, hopefully, where we can showcase what all grows, sprouts, and grows from the work that we are doing here today. See you next time.